Hello, this is Maj Sweden from Geo Investing. Geo Investing was founded in 2007. We provide premium microcap and nanocap research to our premium subscribers. We stress quality in our research process. We are continually looking for what we call Tier 1 quality microcaps. We believe this is the greatest opportunity for investors to find an edge in today's market environment. We love to share our research and our ideas with you. We've been doing it since 2007 and we're only getting started right now. Please visit us at geoinvesting.com to learn more about our performance and to become a premium member. Thank you.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation of an offer to buy or sell securities. SNN.Network and Maj Sweden are not licensed brokers, broker-dealers, market makers, investment bankers, investment advisors, analysts, or underwriters. We do not recommend any companies discussed. We may buy, sell, short, cover securities in any company mentioned and may profit in the event those securities rise in value if we are long and fall if we are short. We recommend you consult with a professional investment advisor, broker, or legal counsel before purchasing or selling any securities referenced in this podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to Avoiding the Crowd podcast. I am the show's producer, Robert Kraft. You can follow me on Twitter at Bobby K. Kraft, BOBBYKKRAFT. I said that fast, Maj, okay? I wanted to just get that out of the way. And we're really excited to bring to you our latest episode of Avoiding the Crowd. It's been a little bit since we had an episode that came out, and we figured now is a better time than ever to kind of do a little catch up, kind of do a summer rewind. Maybe talk a little bit about some investor misconception and dark stocks, and a little bit about what's coming up on Geo Investing in the coming weeks. So as always, joining us is your host, Maj Sweden from geoinvesting.com. Maj, what's up, dude?
I was wondering when I'm going to do this. When am I going to tell them I pronounced my name wrong? It's been a lot of fun. I think it's about time now. It's Sweden. I was like, how long can I do this? I'm gonna have fun with Bobby Croft.
Look, you know what? I was pronouncing it the West Coast way, like the West Coast, like Maj Sweden, dude.
I'm just kidding. I was waiting, 1 year to do that, and I wanted you to get some little play in it.
I have noticed you say Maj Sweden, but I didn't know if that was just like a Philly thing. Like you're just like, because of my Philly accent, it's Sweden. I don't know.
You're too classical. You're taking French, whatever it is, man. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, here, maybe Jan can pronounce it correct. By the way, also joining us is Jan Svenda, contributor to geoinvesting.com. Jan, can you give us the right pronunciation?
I'm not going to get into this conversation. I'm just going to stay out and let it. That's the ring open.
I was calling Jan Jan for a long time. I couldn't figure it out.
Or you can spell it with a Y as well. Yeah, that's a great thing.
So we're all a ball here. But yeah, so Jan's one of my analysts, and I have him contribute to Geo once in a while for us. So look, it's been a long time since we chatted, so I thought let's have an episode here, get caught up a little bit.
Let's do it, man. I mean, look, we're already past Labor Day. It's been a long summer. Microcaps have had a little rough go of it. So, I mean, would love to do kind of like a summer rewind, right? Maybe some reasons for why we are where we are in the microcap space, and maybe what that means for potential new opportunities that maybe didn't come across the screen before. So, Maj, you want to kick it off, and then Jan can jump in?
Yeah, sure, man. And look, I hate to analyze the market too much or analyze what's going on because I'm usually wrong. But, look, I will tell you that, it's been, 2020 was a really good year for nanocaps and microcaps. 2021 started off really nice, the first couple of months, and then it really went into like a little bit of a slow bleed, then more of a last couple of months, more of a harder decline in the sector. And I don't know what's going on there necessarily, but it could be such a great year in 20. A lot of that stimulus money, maybe that was going in these stocks. From a lot of newer investors that came into the market. Remember, there were 10 million more investors, like retail investors in the market in 2020. Maybe some of that kind of dried up a little bit, and it affects the liquid stocks more than it does big stocks. The large caps still doing really well, right? The major indexes and stuff. But these micros are very illiquid, and just a little bit of selling probably can affect that. I haven't seen this type of bad in a while, the participation. But look, we go through these trends, and I'm not worried about it too much, but it is a little frustrating to see these larger companies doing well that you think are overvalued. But hey, it's still working, and it's going to create opportunity for us. So yeah, that's part of the reason. I think a little bit what's going on too is the dark stock kind of stuff going on now with the new environment we're heading into with the SEC putting with Rule 211. Is that what it is? Or what's is that the number? Yeah. So and we've talked about that already on one of your roundtables, and how if you're a OTC listed company and you're not keeping up with your financials on OTC markets, that you're not going to be able to quote it on brokerage firms, so you won't you're not going to trade them. And I think what's happened there a little bit is even though the rule is intended to be targeted towards these dark companies that haven't really been reporting their numbers for a long time, I think it's kind of affecting a lot of the OTC market in general because of misconceptions, and I'll tell you why. So every month at Geo, at the end of every month, we do this open forum where we spend an hour or so talking about the whole month Geo, our research coverage, new stuff we've been doing, and just to sentiment in the market. And I received it's a live call. I received a question from one of our members who was asking about a particular stock that's in our coverage universe that we like a lot. It's an OTC company, and they actually filed with the SEC. His question was, well, when the rule goes into effect, this is going to affect my company, right? And it's not. So it's because they report financials with the SEC. It's not going to affect it at all. But there's this broad brush right now, going on with a lot of people that, and even maybe the brokerage firms don't understand what's going on necessarily, and there's some confusion there too. I think it's causing some trepidation across the whole entire OTC space. That's just a thought I had. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm hopeful that as we come out of that whole environment and end of September, and then everything becomes more clear, and as we educate investors more on these kind of podcasts and more of what you're doing, Bobby, that will educate more individuals on that is, which companies will and will not be affected by this. But overall, I think Jan agrees with me that this whole is creating opportunity again. This whole kind of weakness. We're already starting to see some insider buying come in on some of these some great companies that we think are out there that we own, actually, that are in our coverage universe, and that's usually a great sign for us to go in and start feeling a little better about maybe the bottoming of this weak trend. So we like that a lot. And it's just going to create a lot of opportunity to go in there and buy companies that maybe we think are going to uplist to the the NASDAQ, or come out of the dark, for example, and start becoming reporting companies. And you're already starting to see some interesting companies that are really increasing in value pretty tremendously, that are coming out of the dark or hinting at it at least. And some of them are really just not solid companies moving like that. So we're really hopeful that there'll be some quality companies to buy out of that whole kind of carnage and everything. So that's one thing Jan's working out. As you know, Jan, I don't know, Jan had his own product where he does an extensive coverage in the OTC market and dark stocks. So together we're going through these companies to try and find some opportunity to be able to really maybe get a once in a chance lifetime opportunity here to buy some stocks that are really cheap on the OTC that are getting dinged for no reason. We've kind of spent. I'm really upset at the rule. I think it's done for the wrong reasons. But at some point we gotta stop being upset and start trying to find the opportunity. And I think there's gonna be a lot of it in the space. So Jan, maybe you can interject what you're thinking about right now.
I mean, I think that coming to what you said last is, I think a lot of the people that used to hunt in the space are also, or just, still own the positions in the dark stocks. They're unsure what to do. So, I've talked to Dan Schum recently, who's a preeminent blogger of the dark space, so to speak. One of the two or whatever, how many are there. But basically, I talked to him, he was frustrated because he didn't know what to do with the brokers, right? So there's no solution for these stocks so far, and that didn't really change. So I think, first, the confusion will, be there after 28th as well, I think, to an extent. So again, that will affect some of the stocks. People not really knowing whether they can or whether they can't hold it and things like that. And I think that's really where the companies that are going to be current, that's going to be interesting for them and for people who are looking into this stuff, because I think that will create opportunities. I think also that people that used to do dark stocks on the retail level, let's say, I don't know, $100,000 to $1 million portfolio, doing their kind of research, or following people in the space and things like that, I think they will be actually more inclined to do some of the more regular stuff, let's say less obscure stuff, because now the dark stocks are going to be, that's obscure times two, what's going to happen. So for a lot of the people, it might not be actually comfortable to continue hunting in the space. So I think people will start to look around, hey, maybe, I can look at some of the other stuff. So I think that can also help, the general market in the sector. And I think, just, generally speaking, it will always be obscure. People will always ask questions about, what's going on. And, we certainly can find that now happening. And I think it will certainly create some opportunities there. That's for sure. Like from the, database that I have, about 400 companies, of about 400 kind of interesting OTC companies, I'm seeing prices that I haven't seen for a long time. So, there's certainly some value there, both in the companies that will stay dark and probably that will uplist, so to speak, and will go current, or even in the, as Maj mentioned, the SEC listed ones, or SEC reporting ones, where, people are getting a bit confused about what's happening in the OTC. So definitely that, and the dark stuff.
And you're actually seeing, I was talking to a friend of mine, an institutional, he runs a fund, and he owns some dark stocks, and I think he had some of his accounts were at maybe Schwab, and they already had that listed out that you had to start selling these stocks, or you couldn't, you won't be able to buy them anymore, and they were encouraging him to sell them. So for no reason other than, and some of these companies were really great companies, and are going to probably go reporting. So that's just causing really some problems for some, but opportunity for those of us who can buy these stocks or who want to buy them at some point. So.
Sure. Yeah, I think, like the solution will always be there at some point, in some way or another. So it just takes time to, get through there and do the research. And once we do the research, we will see it through. And, it's just a temporary situation, even though rule is, certainly not what it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, there will be always a solution. So it just takes time, and that creates the opportunity.
Yeah, my favorite spot to look right now is these dark stocks that are partially there already, right? They're getting there, and they're getting dinged. So we're trying to buy some of those now while we can, a little easier, just to get some exposure to them, before they become fully current. And that to me sounds really nice. Bob, you want some symbols, huh?
I'm curious, which. You don't have to obviously disclose whether you're a shareholder or not, but
geoinvesting.com.
Which one?
Geoinvesting.com. You can go find them out. Yeah, but
give some people a taste.
But the problem with doing that now, though, Bobby, is because we're taking these preliminary positions in them, but we haven't done like the deep dive diligence.
I got you. Okay.
We're talking about here, but we will continue to do it. So I'll buy first, and then ask questions and move on. So it's, they're small positions, but as we do more research, we'll definitely share them, more and more.
So here, how about this? what are ways in which some folks that are listening to this can find more information on whether or not some of these dark stocks are hinting that they're going to go, not be dark anymore? Like what are some things that they can look for? What are some hints you've seen? Maybe we can help educate folks that way.
Yeah. So I'm working on a project with you on right now about on maybe I'm providing clarity on that. But for example, it's just a lot of this grunt work. I mean, the OTC will have a list of all the stocks that are dark, right? And then it's basically a lot of times going one by one, looking if there's any press releases. A good tell might be, for example, if they're already reporting information on their website. So maybe there's an intention for them to, they're doing that. Maybe they will just take that and put on, expand upon that and put them on the OTC markets. And then you start looking at press release flow. The press release flow might not be on the usual wires or on OTC markets. You have to go to their website too, and you kind of see how the narrative of the management team is. Really, a lot of it, it's about just feeling out management as they're putting the releases out. If we call them and they answer us and answer the phone and talk to us, that could be a sign. A lot of it's like that, but just kind of seeing, if you're able to see, a lot of these companies have maybe communicated in years, and now they're starting to talk a little bit. So that's a little tell, right? But the easiest tell obviously is if they already start reporting financials on the OTC, right? And they're not quite current yet, but they're getting there. That's kind of things we're doing, and how we're kind of dissecting it. So we're putting in a little group. We're putting in groups. Here's a dark stock list. Here's the stocks that are partially kind of reporting. Here's a list of stocks that are SEC reporting by getting hit by the market, and we're trying to go through that and see if there's an opportunity.
I mean, what's the percentage that you've seen so far? Maybe I'll go to Jan on this one. Like, what's the percentage that you've seen so far of the companies that are within your investable universe that are giving indications that it looks like they're gonna be fully reporting?
I mean, it's a smaller percentage. It's like, maybe 100, 200 stocks or so in the process. Like it hasn't been that many. I mean, I still didn't go through the whole list to make sure, but a lot of them are just a lot of the dark stocks that are, going to cease reporting for sure. And there will be no quotes. A lot of the times it's shell companies, there's nothing really going on. The handful of companies that, are operating and have a business and kind of, you can reach out to them. I think some of them will surely want to stay, kind of reporting, and they might just take the financials from the website and give it to the OTCmarkets.com. But some of them also, will just be happy to stay dark, and they will finally get rid of the public shareholders, asking the pesky questions. So I think a great thing is to ask the management, just try to call them and say like, hey, what was your thought on this? Like, there's a stock I can buy, so just ask them. I think that's a really good way of starting.
No comment, click. Just
sure. Yeah. Well, I certainly had that before, so that goes on the red list for sure.
We're looking at when it gets frustrating though is like when it looks like they want to come out of the dark and they still get back to. There's one right now we're looking at which is selling it I think it's a price of sales of maybe 0.3 or really 0.3.4, profitable. I think it's like a PE of 5 maybe, doubled revenue, or I think at least in the last quarter or close to it. And it just, I want to buy a lot of it, but they're not getting back to me. So you're just trying to figure out, what to do with that situation. But we know they're going to come out probably. But that's the other thing. Like that's kind of what we're seeing is we're trying to look at these stocks with these really low valuations. And even at some point, guys, like even if the stock is not going to come out of the dark, if they just get cheap enough, I think it's worth taking a stab at them, because there's going to be some level of investor that will recognize that value, go in the, and try and go in the dark pool or the gray market and buy these stocks. So at some point they just get too cheap. Like the ones that they'll be interesting are the ones that get really cheap, that aren't going to come out of dark, but are still going to report financials on their website. So you have an idea what's going on. And they might be good takeover candidates one day. Maybe they go private at some point. And if you get them cheap enough, you can still make some money in that situation. Yeah,
sure.
What would you say has been the number one or the main questions or misconceptions that your membership has brought up to you when it comes to dark stocks? Like what, because you clearly look at them, you're continuing to look at them. So how do you answer that? And what are some of them?
I think it's just if you're OTC, regardless of anything else, there is a misconception by some investors that they're going to fall under 211, the rule. And they don't understand it necessarily, the whole thing. They just think it's OTC, a broad brush, and that's it. So I didn't think that was really an issue until I started getting questions on it from Geo members. So that started to tell me, okay, there's definitely some trepidness to buy some of these stocks right now. So that's really the main thing I've kind of gotten.
Got it. I mean, is it, because this might be a dumb question, but you know me, I love asking dumb questions. I mean, is it the trepidation of like some of these companies where their primary listing is, let's say, in Canada or Australia, and their secondary listing is still on the pinks, and like, is it fear of buying those, or it sounds like it's across the board, but is that most of the education on that front?
First of all, there are no stupid questions, just stupid answers, by the way. So that would be my problem if there was an issue here. No, your question is good. It's really broadly. So I think the questions I've gotten, these are OTC companies at Geo Investing, or I own these OTC stocks. It looks like they're going to be affected by the rule, and most of them aren't going to be that we cover. So there's just that. I think it's a broad stroke, Bobby. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, is there anything else we're missing when it comes to dark stocks and misconceptions, and maybe some things, more things for investors to look forward to? I mean, basically, it's just kind of waiting to the end of the month and seeing which one's doing, which one's done. It's almost like waiting for for the college athletes or the high school athletes when they commit to the various schools, or if they're going to go to Australia or something. I don't know. That's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything I'd add.
Nothing to add.
Just come to us, and we will help you out. If you need help in the space, just come to us.
Yeah, we're mining the space, and the good thing about having you on here is that he's been doing this for like the last several years, so he's got to step ahead of the pack here, I think, a little bit.
Very good. All right. So is there also, when it comes to the summer rewind, I mean, is there anything else that we should talk about? Any other trends that we're seeing? I mean, I know there's some China stuff going on, and they're continuing to restrict more and more things in general. So, I mean, do we want to touch on that for a sec?
Look, I mean, I don't want to talk about China too much, but look, and everyone wants to be an expert in the space and think they can figure it out. And the China stocks have been falling for the last several months as government regulation in China starts to basically permeate across different industries, restricting how the companies can compete, and what they're able to service they're allowed to offer, who they're allowed to offer them to. You have them step in the educational market. They've stepped up in the now the video game market, basically restricting access to, I think, minors, for example, or how long the kids can actually be on video games. So these are it seems like all these little boilerplate risks that were in these SEC filings for years, are starting to come true a little bit. So all these Chinese companies, they come public and they would say in their risks, hey, they're saying, we think we're doing things legally, but we're not quite sure. We have our lawyers that say we can do it legally. I mean, but the other lawyers are saying you probably can't. But you've been warned. Here's our weird corporate structure that we use to get around going public in the U.S. You don't have a right to the cash flows. Shouldn't really be an issue. So all these things are starting to happen, right? And they're just starting to kind of come out of the woodworks. And look, I think you have a case for being a bear or a bull on this thing. You don't still know where China's where they're gonna end up on this thing in the end, and when it stops, right? They're going industry by industry to some degree. They're concerned about security of information, like so a lot of these Chinese companies that look in the U.S., there's sensitive information that's being kind of like maybe shared. I think in the end they want to make it a part of their thing is that they're going to give investors a little more comfort at some point, like they're gonna regulate. It's gonna be over. So we'll all know what the playing field is going to look like. But I don't think we're there yet. We don't know what it's going to look like. So I don't know when it ends, but I do know this, that there's going to obviously probably be opportunity at some point. So what we're going to start doing here is potentially start pulling filings in China, the financial filings, and start comparing them to the SEC filings to see where if some great companies in China got hit that we want to go and buy. We're only considering. I'm not quite sure I want to go there yet, but I at least want to know if I have a fighting chance some of these companies at some point if they get cheap enough. So that's what we'll be doing for maybe next several weeks or months as it continues to unfold.
Sounds good. Jan, you want to add anything there or?
No, I think, like exactly right. I mean, there's always the governmental risk there, right? And you just don't know what's going to happen. And they've been completely, not transparent. That people who buy BABA, I really, it's just, you're buying, something that you really don't have any sort of insight into. And I think that's, Maj is always about edge, right? Maj has an edge, in the microcap space. He knows what the edge is, and he's just trying to exploit the edge the most. If people have an edge on the Chinese politics, good for you. You can exploit that edge, but do I have that edge? Do the average U.S. retail investor have an edge in Chinese politics? I'm not really sure. So I think I would just say that, be careful with the edge and just try to exploit what you know. And I think that's it's so many uncertain, factors inside that, who knows?
China's hard. Investing in these Chinese stocks is hard enough in a good environment, right? So,
for sure.
Now it's like, and we've had this debate with some people who are bullish on China, like, oh, they're getting cheap enough, and it's time to go in, and then they look right for 2 days, and then they hit newer lows. So, I don't want to play that game right now, but I want to be ready in case I want to be involved in it.
Yeah, Jan brought up an interesting point. It's like you want to find your edge. It's like, is there any average investor inside or outside China that has an edge in what's going on in China politics? Who knows? Yeah. But anyways, want to transition now. We're kind of wrapping up on this episode. We kind of did our summer rewind, went through some of the misconceptions going on in dark stocks. We'll be chatting more, especially about dark stocks as we get closer to the deadline date. But I think now is a good time to chat about some of the things you got coming up at GeoInvesting, Maj. So you want to go through some of those things?
Yeah, well, because we see the market pulling, sentiment weak in the NanoCap area, we're really being more aggressive now, looking for some great ideas, trying to obviously find the better quality ideas when we're in these kind of markets. We're looking at insider buying trends. We're looking at companies that reported great second quarter numbers that went down or didn't react great to the numbers. And look, we're reading more conference call transcripts to see if there's any insights in those transcripts that are not portrayed in the press releases of the earnings reports. We're finding an incredible list of companies, not only in the U.S., by the way. I'm starting looking at some really interesting Canadian companies. So that's really nice. So we're going to keep doing that. And we launched our 10th Biome, we call it Biome Pullback Model Portfolio, which are model portfolios that take advantage of market weakness. So we go there and we put about anywhere from 5 to 10 stocks in these portfolios where we saw these stocks decline really hard on great numbers or haven't reacted enough. And they've done really great for us all, like all 9 of them so far. So I think 8 out of 9 did really good. Really excited about that. We just launched that one. So we're going to talk about RVP a little more. Jan and I are going to have a discussion on that. So there was a short report written on RVP. Who was it by again, Jan? Who did the short piece?
It was not Bear. Sorry, Bleecker Street Research's. This guy, what's his name? Chris Droth. There you go.
Right. I think Bear Cave was actually bearish on RVP for a little bit too. And then
I think he just wrote. Maybe he just wrote a bit about it. But yeah, the main report came out by.
Yeah, and some of the things that Bleacher wrote about are Bleecker Street.
Bleecker Street, yeah. I mean, I hope it's I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it's Bleecker.
Probably is. Well, Bleak makes sense. And some of the stuff he talked about was actually in Bear Cave's Twitter kind of feed. So I think he found out that a little bit. But so well, we're gonna analyze it a little deeper and try and look at his bearish point of view, from an open kind of open-minded situation. We're going to look at where we might agree with him, where we might disagree with him, and try and do it in a very polite manner. And that's going to be really, really fun to do. We're going to break that down, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, but RVP, just for those that listen, they make retractable syringes, safety syringes. You push a button, the syringe, the needle pops into a casement. They're out there to really, they're addressing really a $2 billion plus worldwide global issue. It is a big problem. They want a contract to basically be I think the primary supplier of syringes for COVID-19 vaccinations. And so the concern, we'll talk about, the concern is obviously once COVID-19 is in the background, and that maybe there won't be as much need for these vaccinations, or maybe they won't get the government contract again. So we're going to break that down on a podcast and what that means. And then also, this one will excite you, Robert. We're going to interview the CEO of CryoCell, CCEL, the symbol.
He's literally only saying that. I'm not a shareholder. He's only saying that because I'm a customer. So yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, that was great. You finally chimed in when we talked about stock, because you get our geo emails. You finally chimed in the stock when you saw we were running about CCEL. Oh, by the way, I do own RBP. I should disclose that, and I do own CCEL. CCEL is a umbilical cord stem cell bank, and it's a really interesting company where the insiders have been buying stock for years. It's a boring little company. It's been growing a little bit here and there. The high recurring revenue business. I just entered into a deal not too long ago with Duke University that will help them maybe transform the business into to basically start actually opening clinics using some of Duke's IP. Duke is a pioneer or maybe a leader in stem cell research, and I guess what's going to happen here in this partnership is that RVP is going to had to pay for this. Obviously, they're going to get access to the IP to be able to use
CCEL. CCEL has to pay for that.
Yeah, to Duke, and these clinics are going to be using CCCL's stem cells based on Duke's kind of IP. And so it's if you take the company right now, they're doing about maybe 30 million in revenue, maybe, I think. On the legacy business, they're projecting the clinic's going to bring about, when it's up and running by the beginning of next year, about 24 million in revenue a year. So it's a pretty interesting thing. Now there's more risk in the model because now they've become kind of a biotech-ish company. Stem cell therapies can be controversial. So we're going to break all that down with the CEO. It's his first time. He just recently came out of the dark and talking to the investors from. He did a presentation on OTC markets, which was really nice. I encourage you all to watch that. And we're going to bring him on Geo to expand upon that presentation and really go through a deep dive into the company. So this could be an interesting company where you have a lot of recurring revenue. You have another $24 million revenue just from one clinic on a few procedures. As more procedures get approval over the years through the Duke relationship, that 24 million can go up significantly in value potentially. So
do you think that's where their continued value is going to come from? I mean, I got to tell you, is from the customer experience I had, if they train all these hospitals the way that they train the nursing staff that talk to us when we were in that, because basically what happens is for us, you have your baby, you're in like the most euphoric moment of your life, and within an hour they have the nurse come in and say, hey, do you want to save the umbilical cord information? Luckily, my wife's a nurse, so she understood immediately what was happening. So maybe that helped a little bit in our decision process. And I was like, yeah, sure, fine, of course, because it's almost like an insurance policy in some ways. And then every year, then you pay an annual fee for them for upkeep, basically. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like the more hospitals they reach to, the more and the more quality of training that they do, like that's the recurring side of that. Look, it's a no-brainer, right? Like, I don't know how long I could be paying that for years. I probably will be paying that for years, right?
Yeah. I don't know. You're right, and the revenue is very recurring, and stable. I just don't know. It's a lot of it depends on the growth. It depends on more people wanting to do it, and the birth rates, right? And I don't think making babies is a high growth rate industry, but maybe getting more people to.
COVID was pretty active.
Yeah, maybe.
My entire friend group
divorces and births, divorces and babies, right in COVID. Yeah, so, probably. Yeah. So I think though, but the clinic kind of gives them a sexier type of biotech type of look to it, which increases the risk too, by the way.
Yeah.
Krause will have to invest in this.
Gotta love the chairman CEO's name, by the way.
I threw me for a loop. David Portney.
Yeah.
What? He's David Portney, the CEO of Krause now? What's going on?
Like, what the hell? He's not running a biotech? I thought he was a Barstool guy.
He's actually here in Miami, or North Miami. I'm gonna go have a beer with him next week probably. And by the way, I did have a stem cell shot in my knee. I did go to a clinic. I don't know if it was all kosher or not. But after my discussion with David, I had with him last week or 2 weeks ago, he's like, you know what? That might not be a real stem cell you got. You should go check it out. So,
dude, you got to go to Germany, man. That's where the real stem cell.
Was it Germany or was it Mexico?
I always thought. I remember Kobe. Didn't Kobe go to Germany? I thought Kobe went to Germany for his knee.
I thought Eli Manning went to Mexico. I don't know. Maybe it's Germany. Yeah. Well, yeah, that would have been my next trip. Because believe me, I got my neck, my back, my hip. I got other places I can experiment on too, besides my knee. So I'll be the 600 million, the bionic man soon.
Like I could just see you on the tennis court, just like trying to.
I'll be 120, man, whooping your ass in tennis. Don't worry.
That actually would probably be true.
All right, cool. All right, that's it, man. So I look forward to that. That's all happening. We'll definitely CCEL. CrowdSell's happening next week. I think is it Tuesday at 4:15.
Well, we better get this pod out soon then, huh?
Yeah.
Get
it on Monday.
Yeah, we better get this out Monday.
Yeah, we're ready to go. And I don't know, maybe RVP next week if we have some time, we'll do it too, Jan. But I want to talk to you more about how that looks.
Sure. I would just like to add to the BOP thing. So buy on pullback model portfolio, so myself, we have a new one out. I think it's really interesting. And I would just like to add that, in the past ones, they were on average about 8 months. So basically like we track the weakness, and then we see something going down. So we suggest a kind of this model portfolio of stocks that, we really like, but maybe didn't get the love as they should. And then we kind of track them and maybe close the portfolio after a while. It's on average like 8 months. And basically the outperformance of the S&P 500 was like 30% in those 8 months. So that's been really good. These records are basically accurate as of March 2021 for geo investing model portfolios, which you can see as a subscriber. So I just thought that's really something that we are looking forward to in the next one, at least 30%, which is really good. So nice, in the past, they worked out really well. So that's just what I wanted to add.
And the thing that's cool is that even though we're long-term investors here, for the most part, when we look for opportunity, we introduced the model portfolio because we wanted to give a little shorter-term opportunity for us to take a look at some things, and that's why I like this one too, because it gives us a little fun in the short term as we're waiting for our long-term stuff to kind of pan out a little bit. And let me see, I can pull it up right now here. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at it now. That's actually up a little. We launched it on August 17th, and we're up pretty nicely in most returns. On let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 out of the 5 are up pretty nice already. So yeah, so it's looking good. All right, man. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Sean.
All right. Well, guys, give before we get out, give some plugs.
Yeah. So I'm with my Twitter handle is @Maj GeoInvesting. GeoInvesting's Twitter handle is @GeoInvesting. I really encourage you to follow those Twitter handles because we do a lot of interesting tweets there, educational, and maybe sometimes give a pitch on them. You can follow Geo at geoinvesting.com. You can go there and give us your email, and you'll start receiving some information once in a while from us. We don't kill you with a lot of emails. You can subscribe to GeoInvesting. We have a monthly subscription for $59.99, biannual subscription for $299, and we have a yearly for $479. And that's really it about from Geo. So you can also email Geo at support@geoinvesting.com, or you can email me directly at maj@geoinvesting.com. I'll throw it over to Jan where they can find Jan.
Sure. I'm on Twitter with my name. Not really posting much, but I'm certainly, have my DMs open, as they say. So if anyone wants, to ask any kind of questions or dark stocks, microcaps, or something like that, feel free to reach out to me there. I guess that's the best one. Otherwise, really follow Maj. That's the key goal. I stopped doing my own research. I used to do a lot of my own research. Now I just follow Maj, and I'm happy.
Well, then I follow Jan, so we're in trouble. We're not getting anything done.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Our pipeline's so huge right now. I don't know what to do, man. It's getting overwhelming again.
Yeah,
we'll get through it.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys. Well, and everybody listening, if you're happen to be listening right now, that's half the battle. You were able to find Avoiding the Crowd. It's available wherever podcasts are streaming, both audio, and the YouTube version is on the SNN.Network YouTube channel, SNN, which is youtube.com/SNN Wire. And with that, Maj, Jan, it's been a pleasure. Let's schedule the next one already. Should we book a time now? I think we should, but
let's book it and change it then, because it's going to happen.
Of course, that's usually.
And please just let me know. Maybe Maj, let me know earlier than 5 minutes before the call.
It's only midnight over there where you.
Yeah.
That's when they start. That's when the French start eating dinner anyway. So he's just giving us a hard time.
Yeah. Sure. All right, guys.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation of an offer to buy or sell securities. SNN.Network and Maj Svenda are not licensed brokers, broker-dealers, market makers, investment bankers, investment advisors, analysts, or underwriters. We do not recommend any companies discussed. We may buy, sell, short, cover securities in any company mentioned and may profit in the event those securities rise in value if we are long and fall if we are short. We recommend you consult with a professional investment advisor, broker, or legal counsel before purchasing or selling any securities referenced in this podcast.